Everyone, today we'll be working on CRUD operations in database. If you work on any database other than Firebase, or if you use MongoDB, Postgres, SQL, or any other databases, these are the basic operations you will be performing on any backend databases. So what is CRUD? C for create. When you want to create anything into database, if you want to write anything into the database, if you want to store something, right? This will be create. Then R, read. After creating the data into a database, you will be reading that, right? So R is for read, to access that data. U for update. After creating the database and entering our details, if you want to update any particular details in our database, we can update that. Delete. If you want to delete some records or some particular data, we can delete that. These are the four basic operations performed on any backend database. CRUD. Remember this, guys. So in Firebase we'll be working on this. Go to CRUD operations. Here I have mentioned to get current logged in user. So what is the use of this? See, when you want to get the data, right, there are two ways to get the entire data or to get the specific user's data. See here, after we implemented authentication, right, we will get his authentication details inside of this get auth. See, there is a user. See, suppose I am the user Arshad. Using create and login, I created my account. Then after this, in previous classes we have, how did we get our data? After entering login or sign up button, after clicking on that, we were getting a console log. Inside of that we were getting our details, right, using user credentials. But we are in the middle of a project. In a file we are trying to get his data. So how to get that? Whenever you want to get users data, right, there is one way to get his data. Just write get auth. This method provides us complete details about the authentication of the user. Along with this, it provides some additional details. So if I want to get these details, right, first I will store this detail somewhere. Suppose const, I will write one variable name user. Then this is done. After writing this, entire data which I am getting from get auth is being stored in this user variable. After that I will write one more variable, or instead of user here, keep this as auth. Then here you write user equals to auth dot current user. So what is the use of this? When I write auth, where am I getting this auth from? This variable. In this variable I am storing authenticated users entire data. From this data I am trying to access only current user. In previous classes in the JavaScript objects, we have accessed the student details using student.name, right? This is similar to that. Inside of auth we are getting current user. If you want to know I am getting or not, you can just write console.log and you can check auth. Or you can also write user if you want to check your current logged in users details. Just write user here. Then these are the basic things which you require to get users data. Then after this, to perform any CRUD operations, you must have a collection. So what is a collection here? See, suppose this is your table or data. For this table you will be having one name. Suppose I am giving here to dos. This is my collection name, which means suppose this is entire record or your details here. You are having all tasks and other details here. For this you are giving one name which is called a collection. You can remember this as a file name or like that. Basically it is name of this. Done. After, so to create this collection we must write const one variable name. It can be anything. For this I am writing to do collection. You can write anything here. Then collection, you have to import this guys collection from Firebase. Then I'll be writing db. Then what is my collection name? What I said, to do's, right? This can be anything guys. For now I'm writing to do's as my file name or my collection name. Done. So as I said, to create a collection I'm writing collection and the collection name here. But what is db? db is you can think of db as your database configurations. Previously this was your configurations, as previously this was your configurations where I wanted to use authentication, so I added these details. Like I want to use authentication feature, for web I want to use this, for mobile I want to use this. So to use any particular service from Firebase you must provide the service name in this configurations. So here I want to use one service called CRUD. So where is this CRUD operation? So this CRUD operation belongs to get fire store. So this get fire stores provides us these four operations CRUD. To perform any CRUD operations we will be using this get fire store method. This method provides us all these functionalities to work on this. So what we should do, inside of your configurations, right, firebase.js ka, at the bottom after all your other configurations just write export const db. This can be any name, but for our understanding, like this is my database, I'll be writing db equals to get fire store. Here I'll be writing app. Done. So I'm telling I'll be using the get fire store and get fire store. This fire store provides a different methods, right? For this I'm using a variable called db and exporting all these functionalities. Here I have written collection. In this collection I am having my collection name and the db, which means all the CRUD operation. This is my database. Just remember this as your database guys. To perform any database operations you must need this get fire store. Done. One more. When you go to CRUD operations, here you can see create, read, update and delete. First we will see how to create. So for now forget this function, just look at this add doc. You just look at this add doc, something I have written at to do collections, which if you remember the previous variable name I have given to do's collection. Then a JavaScript object. Inside of this object I am sending some details here. So what is that? See, to create, so to create I have a function called add doc. To add any document, to add any details to a database we need add doc. You can remember this add documentation like add doc. Then you need to provide what type of data I should add and to what, which means this is to do collection, right? You have created, you have to mention this there. You have to provide your collection details. Add doc, this is my collection. Inside of this collection you add all these details. To do collection. Done. I'm telling add doc add the documentation to this collection. Done. Then what you want to add? You told that I want to add some data to the to do collection. Then what type of data you want to add? To add any data, it accepts key and value pairs. So like I want to send data like task and the value. Here for now I will write value. This is like a placeholder, guys, not the syntax. This is just a placeholder I am sending here. In this place you have to write. Even this task I will write like this. Or field and values. Here what is a field? This is your to-dos collection na? Suppose this is your to-dos collection. In this you will be having different records. Like one, if this is a student ka record, you will be having student name, right? Then one more record for roll number, then one more for classes, section and other details. For this is called field name. Like you can remember this like a heading or something. Then this value, key and key value pairs, field, and a value is student ka naam. Then his roll number. See, these are called field names and these are values. So when I am writing, I want to send these details, right? Here I can write like student name and the values will be Arshit. If I want to directly send values, I can send like this. But if you want to send the data dynamically, in previous class we have learned about states, different states. Like I can, in previous class we have learned about text, right? I want to track the text. I have used use state there. Using use states, I have been tracking that text. After tracking that text, I have done console.log text, right? Similar to that, you can create one more state like const task set task use state. This was how you were accessing the data using the first variable. Here I am sending this first variable. So for this field name, I am sending the details which the user is entering using the text input. I am sending these details here. Done. After this, not only this, I can send other field details also. Like if I want his roll number, here we won't be having student name, right? We are creating to do application, so here you will be having your to do or the task. It's your wish, any field name you want to write, just write that here. Then not roll number, whether the state is completed or not, this is also your wish. Here you'll be having either false or true. Done. Then comma. Then if you want to add some other details to your database, it's your wish, you can write here like created at date. You can add that, or you can send other details along with this task. It's your wish, guys. For now I'm using task, whether it is completed or not. Done. Not only this, I have to send one more, guys. This is compulsory. User id, this is one variable. User id, for this I will write user dot uid. This is common, guys. User dot uid. Where am I getting this user? Previously, if you remember, I wrote one variable like user. Here using this user, I am accessing the current logged in user. If I am logged into this application, my details will be stored in this user. Then I am telling my database like I am the current logged in user, so store these details in my database. You are storing the details here. Done. Also here I'll write task, because here my field name is task. task. Then this will be completed. This will be user ka id. Done. Then this will be false because I'm sending false. I'll be changing this using update features later. And this will be a task. For now I'll keep Arshad. If I or see, this is your task. If the user is entering something in text field, like this is your text field. See, suppose this is a text field. Here user is entering, this is your task. I will store these details in my database for this field name. Done. After this I'll be having a button to add this. Done. So user id, here you will be getting some unique keys guys, some random keys here like this. You will get some random keys here. This is the id generated by the Firebase. For the current logged in user, it will automatically generate some unique key value there. Then this was about how to add or how to create details into your database. Then after creating, you want to read them. So basically CRUD operations perform like I'm creating, then I'm reading my database. Without creating, you can't read, right? Then how to read? There is one method called get docs, not doc, get done. This is your method. So for this method, there are few queries you have to pass. If you know SQL or some other database, you know how queries work. If you want to get the data based on some conditions, I want this particular user data, I want to get this user if the user name is this, or if the user id is this, or if the user task is completed, get me his details or get me the complete details from the database. So how it works, like I'll create one variable const q query. You have to import this from Firebase query. For this query you have to pass the collection. Okay, I'll perform operations, but on what data or collection I have to do that? To do collection. This is my collection name. You perform operations on this. Here for now I'll just close this like this. Query, I'm sending to do collection, get this to do collection ka details and store in this queue. Done. I'm writing get docs, which means here I have to pass that query. Get docs, get the entire data based on this query. After doing this, I will store these details in const. I'll write const data equals to. See, I'm writing const data equals to get docs. What it will do is it will get entire data from the database and store in this data. To check is my data being stored, you can do console.log data. Done. This is how you create and this is how you read. But in read there are two methods. One is directly getting entire data. One more is similar to this, just write const q equals to query. In this query, what I am sending, first I have to provide what data collection I have to perform these operations. To do collection. In this to do collection, then here I will be writing my condition like where I'm writing here user id. This user id I'm getting from here. User id, then comma equals to, then I can close this comma. Here just write user dot uid. If you remember this, user, this is user dot uid, user id, user dot uid. What is the functionality of, what is the use of is, it will check, this is a condition where it is checking if the user id is similar to this, show me his details. Like if it is a current logged in user, send show me his details. It will show you only the current logged in user ka details over there. Then close this. Done. Here I have to write one more, right? Const data equals to, I want to get the details, get docs, just write q here. Done. Can do console.log, what I want, can do data, will get the entire data over there. So what is the key difference between directly sending only collection and a collection with some parameter conditions? Suppose this is your Instagram page. This is your first scenario. This is your two. Here, when I am doing direct in that query to do collection, what it will do is it will get entire data from the database. See, this is your database. It will get entire data from this. Like it will show. For now, remember it is getting entire data. In second condition, it is getting only current logged in user. Current logged in ka user. So what is the use of this is, see, if you think of this as your Instagram page, this is your Instagram ka page. Here you are getting other people ka details also, other people ka post, right? This is one post, and suppose this is one post. See, this is to do collection where you are getting entire data from the database, all the other records from other people also you are getting here. But in current logged in ka, you are only getting the details or the posts done by the current user. This you can think of as your profile page. Inside your profile page, you are only showing your data, right? Whatever the post you have made, you are showing that details. Here you are viewing all the details from the database. We'll try the project directory, open firebase.js. In this at the bottom, write export const get firestore from Firebase Firestore. You have to import that. From Firebase Firestore. Then write app. This is done. Save this. Go to your any tab. I'll go to post. Here I'll be writing to do. Sorry, not to text. I'm writing to do app. To take user data, I will write text input. Then a button. This is my button, and here to access the data I will write value. To track the text I will use on change text. Done. Here I have to provide the use state values. So before the return type, write const. Here to track that I will write task dot set task from use state. Import this use state. This will be null state previously. Now I will drag this using first variable task, then to manipulate set task. This is done. After writing this, we must send this data, right? So for this button, you directly write handle add or add to do, it's your wish. See, this is my function name add to do. See, after this I will write const add to do, one arrow function. Here I can do console.log to check whether I am getting the data or not. This is done. I will save this. See, this is my to do app text. This is my text input. Can write here. See, when I click on this add, you can see I'm getting my data using the task variable of use state here inside of this log. This is done. I'm getting my data. Now I need to send this data to the Firebase. To do that, then I want to send my data. To send your data, I told you you have to define few things like const auth to get the user authentication details. You will write get auth. See, you have to import this from React Native. It is not importing, so I have to write manually import get auth. Now hit enter. This is done. Then when I do just get auth, I'll be getting not only authentication details along with that other services details and all. I don't want all the data. From that I will filter out using write one more variable auth dot current user. So in this I am getting many along with this I am getting so much of data. From this data I am taking only current user. This is similar to the student dot name, like that we are doing here and storing in this. This is done. I told you to perform create or CRUD operation, you need a collection. How to write the collection? Here I will write const. This is your wish, guys. You can write any name here. To the collection I am writing here equals to, you have to write collection. You have to import this from Firebase Firestore. Enter. It is not importing. Go here, write import collection from Firebase Firestore. Here, this one. Done. For this I have to provide db. What is this db? I am getting this db from here export const db. I am getting the CRUD operations exported, comma, what is my collection name I want to give here? It's your wish, you can give anything. I'm writing to do's here. This is done. Name, I'm writing to do's here. Import this db from Firebase. See, db from Firebase. Previously we are doing here auth, if you know the authentication. db. This is done. We have created a collection. Now on this collection we will perform CRUD operations. How? See, I will go inside this add to do. Inside of this, when the user clicks, see here, inside of this, when the user wants to add the details to the database, I will use get, sorry, not get, add doc. Add doc. I am importing this from Firebase Firestore. Is it imported? Yes. See, add doc Firebase Firestore. Done. To add the data or the collection, what I need to provide, one is collection ka name. So for my database I'm sending this data to do collection. Okay, this is done. And after this, what type of data you want to send, collection mein what type of fields you want. Here I will write my field will be task. Then here I will write a value, right? For now I'll just write directly value, or no need of writing value. Here you are providing your states, right? Task and set tag. Task, I want to track my text and send here. Here I will directly write task. This is different, this is different, guys. This is like your task. I will to do. See, this is your to do. What is that to do? This is your to do ka task. If I write this is go to gym today, it will be stored here. Then comma, I will write completed. This is your wish, you can write any name here. Then I will be writing false. So why false? Either when you will to do will be having two states. One is the to do is completed, or the to do is not completed. Done. After this I told you to write user id. Just write user id equals to user.uid. So what is the use of this is, it will store the current logged in user ka id in that, so that whatever you add documentation is added to this id or this user ka account. This is done. So for this I want you to add async and await for this. See, before starting of this function, just write async. So what are async awaits? After add doc also you write await. So what is the use of async await is, whenever you perform any operation using your internet from external services, we can't assure that the data we get is simultaneous and we get that data quickly. The data might be slow because it will fetch the database and then we'll get the data, right? In the scenarios, use async and await. It will tell the database to wait till this process is completed. This is done. So this is how you were adding data to your database. Now we will try to enter some details and check is the data is stored in the database or not. Save this, browser, once a refresh. In this to do I will write click on add. Acha. After clicking add, I am getting some error like get error or something. This is because you have to configure in your Firebase. Previously you did for authentication, right? Similar to that, go to build, go to Firestore database. You want to use this database, click on that, you will get this interface. Click on create database. Here it provides you two options, start in production mode and a test mode. See, when you start test mode, this application will work for 30 days. After 30 days you have to update your permissions and all. If you start directly in production mode, you have to update your permissions now itself, like create. I will use the production mode. See, here you can see rules. In this the permissions are defined. here, click here and remove this false. Write request dot auth request dot auth not equals to null. Just write this. What is the use of this is telling if the authentication there is authenticated user, give him read and write permissions. Then click publish. Don't do this deploy, just click here. This is done. Go back to your data here. Missing right. Sorry. This today's task. Now go back to Firebase. Once I refresh this, see, just after doing a refresh I can see there is one collection created. So how is this collection created? Previously I did collection db comma to dos. This use of the to dos collection is created. In this, when I click on this numerical alphanumeric digits, you will get this data. In this I have written completed. If you remember, this is your field completed. False is the value. Similar to the to do, this is my field name. For that I am sending some data using the text. This is today's task. This user id is the current logged in user is there na, his id. If I log into another account, I already have one account. No need of creating. Use status. Sorry. See guys, this is my one more account. Here I will write new account, add. It is added. In this, go to database. See here, can you see there is one more record? I can click on this. False, new account, user ka id. You check this user ka id RHC. This is different. This is different. It is starting VH5WS. So these are the unique keys generated by Firebase for the each user. This is how you create. This is, see, in this we have created our details and created one record. After this I want to read that, so I will write one more function. Fetch to do. I have written async because we will be getting details from database. I will write const q. Here I want to provide the query, like what type of data I want. Right, query, import this. Then what type of collection I want to work on, to do's collection. Done. Then if I only do this, I will get entire data. Let me show you two ways. Const q equals to this collection. Then one more const data. We'll write get docs. I have to import this. Done. Then write q, your previous query. You want to get this collection ka data. This is then just write log and you will get the details of this. This is how you fetch the data and also create the data. Here you have completed how to create and how to read. I'll go to console, try to add one more. You're getting your data. See, after writing this function, this is not working because I have written fetch to do, which means I have defined a function, but I'm not calling that. How to call that? I can directly write fetch to do's, but this is not the right way. Use use effect. Import this from React. This is the syntax. So this is a syntax where this previously like arrow function, and this is one hook. If you know if you have watched news application, you know what is use effect. Here this is arrow function where you will write your entire code, and last mein dependency array. What is the use of dependency array is how many times you want to run your application. Basically use effect is a also called as side effects. If you want to run a side effects on your application, what do I mean by side effects? See, like application is running, it is doing some operation simultaneously at the background. I want to run some different things, or when a particular condition arrives, I want to do these operations. I will add that into use state. So what I want to do is fetch data or fetch to do. What I would fetch to do? See, fetch to do I'm writing, I'm calling that. So what is the use of this is it will run whenever the page is refreshed. Whenever I click refresh, or in my Instagram page when I scroll down, it will call this function fetch to do. This is done. I will go back, save this, check your browser. Got something right? Pending promise. In this you will get your data. Here I will write await. For this also write await. Save this. When I save this and go back, I will write something. Yeah, I got my data. Once I will refresh my page. Here you are getting something. Here you got your data. These are all data inside of these queries. You can find your data. There is another way to directly get the added data. I'll show you that. But for now, you are getting the data after refresh because you added that functionality, right? Use effect. There is to get the data simultaneously after adding. What you can do is this is your add functionality, right? Where you are adding your data. After adding, you can call the function fetch to do to work. What it will do is after entering data to my database, I'm telling fetch the data. Here I'm telling when the page is refreshing. See, when you refresh, you will get the data, and also when you open your application for the first time, it will automatically get your data using use effect. I'm also telling whenever the user is entering some data, like new task is added, fetch the database again. Save this. Now I will remove this. I will add here some. See, I did not even refresh. Now I got my data. Previously, I did a refresh, then I was getting this data. Did you get why did we add fetch to do after getting that data? Here I added to get the data after something is added to the database. Here in use effect, I'm trying to get when the application is opened for the first time and also when the page is refreshing. Fetch the data. This was about how to add data and how to get the data. Now we will try to get the data and store in our UI. Here I will create one flat list. Previously to check any data we were using flat list, right? Flat list. Import that flat list. Done. Then close this. What I need here is data. One is render item. This also done. One more is key extractor. These three are basic functionalities which we need for flat list. Here I need to provide the array name. Here I need to provide the UI. I'll write the UI here first. How I want. If you don't know what is flat list, go and watch that flat list video which we uploaded previously. In this what I want a text to show the added data. So I will write text. Here I want to show, suppose for now you directly write this is text. Then I will show him one button, like one is for edit, one is for delete. Button touchable. Or I can either add icons also. This one button, I will create one more button. In place of this direct emoji, you can use other icon libraries like vector icons. You can provide that here. This is done. Now I need to provide this data, right? So for this, I will create a use state which will track the length or the array I am getting from the database. For this, I will write to dos, comma, set to dos. This is to track the data I am getting from the database and show in the use state. Sorry, in flat list. This will be an array. So this is to access. This is to manipulate. Now we have defined our states, right? Where to store our data. Now, to get the data, we have written fetch to do, right? These are functionality to fetch the database. So when we are fetching, we'll try to save this somewhere. Like to save or manipulate or edit our data, we are using the second variable, right? Set to do. I'll use this to change set to do. Inside of this, you have to write data. What you want to send? I want to send this data, which I'm getting from get docs. When I'm doing get docs, I'm getting some data, right? So in this also, in data, we are having docs. So what is this inside of this data? I'll be having a docs array, not simple only text over there. They'll be having docs array. Inside of this array, I will be having my details. So to access that, you have to write this functionality over there, dot map, which means you will be mapping each and every array inside of this. See, this is your data variable where you are storing. But when you are storing this, you will get many other details. I will show you how you are getting the data. See, this is how you are getting your data. Can you somewhere find your data? Previously, when you are doing console log in authentication, where we got our directly mail and other details directly, but here we won't be getting that. Here we are getting some arrays. If you see this, see here you can find different arrays, also all these details. See, we are getting different details, but we don't want this. From this, I want to access only the data which I am getting from the Firestore. So to do that, we will be using mapping functionality. Just remember this syntax, guys. You will be using this everywhere. See, this is your data variable where you are storing. Inside of this, which means dot docs. Inside of this docs, I'm having the array. So I'll be using dot map. Then this is a function. Dot map is a function. So what I'm saying here, I'm storing my details in data. In this data, I have an array called docs. So to fetch the details from this doc array, I'll be using a map functionality. So when I use a map functionality, suppose this is your container or data, you'll be having your details. Suppose that this is your data array, you are having rows and columns, right? To access these details, we are using map. When I use maps, it will iterate to each and every record. See, this is my first record, first data, this is my second data, third data, fourth data. To access each and every row, I'll be using map functionality. This is similar to the arrow function. This is your arrow function. This is your arrow function, right? Here I will pass one variable called doc. Just remember this syntax is the same syntax we'll be using everywhere. Inside of this, just write doc dot data. Then when you do this, it will get all the details and store in the state. To do that, we are using dot. This is called spread operator, which means it will, when you are adding your data, right? If this is your previous data, you have something inside this. Then you are fetching, you got one more data. When you try to add, what happens in use state is this was your previous state. When you are adding something, this is removed. Like if I add now this data, this previous data is removed from the buffer and this data is stored. But what you want to show this data and also this data, right? So you will be using spread operator, which is dot. This is called spread operator and the doc name. What is the use of this? So it will store. See, previously I was having this data and also now I am adding this data. So when I use spread operator, it will store this previous array and then it will append this. It will become dsdf plus asdf. After adding this, for that array, it is also adding this data. So this is the use of the spread operator. Then try to do that. See, I will write this is my arrow function. See, guys, this is my arrow function. Inside this, I am writing doc. Here, write this dot doc. dot data. So it will fetch the details and store to the previous array. See, previously if I write do this go to gym, it is stored in the buffer. Then I am writing do the homework or complete the task. It will store go to gym, then complete the task in the array. It will not remove the previous data. So this is the use of this. Along with this, I need to pass one more attribute or the variable like comma id. Id equals to doc dot id. Okay, no, but what is the use of this id? See guys, when you are doing this dot spread operator dot data, you are storing the details. Along with that, I am telling it to store unique key values. So what is the use of this unique key values is when you are using key extractor, right? In flat list, see this is your key extractor. Here you need to save that unique IDs. We are using id doc.id guys. Guys, just remember this syntax. This is similar everywhere. Whenever you are fetching data, you will write this data you are storing somewhere. Then a docs.map. This is compulsory to map the array. Then arrow function. Inside of this arrow function, one reference variable like doc. Then a spread operator to store the previous details and add this data to that. Then there I am sending a day ID for unique values. Then after doing this, you can either console log and try that you are getting your data or not. Like log what is the to do's, right? To do's. Even here I have to pass the array name where am I storing that to do's. See, using this variable, I am manipulating like I'm adding extra details to this array. Then I'm accessing that using this first variable to do's. Then here, if I want to show, I need to use JSX item dot to do. So where did I get this to do name? Previously, when you were adding details, right? Here you wrote to do. This is your field name. Remember this. This is your field name. Using that, you are getting this. Also added a like checkbox. For now, I'll show you like text. It will be item dot item dot completed. Where am I getting this from? Previously, I wrote here. This is my field name. Then save this. Also, don't forget to add here. I need to write item dot id. See guys, now you are getting your data. Like I added new data. This is to do task. Hello, other details also. Even I did console log, right? See here now. Previously you are getting this all query details and other details. When I did docs doc map and also that IDs, I am getting only these details, array details. In this array, I can get see. So in zeroth index, I have completed ID to do. What is the to do? See this to do name I have written here. Then user ID I am getting. Which user added these details? See here. Once let's try this functionality. Like first you check this guys. This is to do hi hello. I'm writing here. I'll try to access this using some other account. I have created one account. Then in this post, right? We'll write. Here, see, these to dos are added by some other user. See, this user added
his to-dos, but even I can see the to-dos. The reason is here when I did query, I only passed direct to-do collection. When I directly send to-do collection, I can see all the details of the database. Like it is added by some other user also. You can view that data. If you want that functionality, you can directly write to-do collection. But I want only to show the details of the user who created. Like if I add to-dos, only I can see the data. Some other person should not see my to-dos. So to do that, I will add a functionality. Like when I'm getting details here, import this where condition, where clause, then I'll write user ID. Where am I getting this user ID? Previously you wrote this here, right? User ID, then comma, I have to write equals to, if that is, if user ID is equals to the current logged in user ID, which means if I am logged in, I should see only my data. Then comma, what is that user? See, this is user, where you getting your current logged in ID, here user dot UID, which means it is checking the database ID and the logged in user ID. If both are same, it will show your data. But there is a problem. When we save this, and I will try to run the application, refresh. See here, cannot read properties of null, reading UID. But when you check your database, you will get that UID. See if I do console.log, if I do just user, I am checking these details. See, I'm getting the user card data. In this at the bottom, you can see UID. But still, when you are trying to access, it is telling you cannot read the properties of the null value. So, what is the problem here? When you are trying to get the details right, Firebase is little slow. It cannot directly understand that. So the user completed his login, then he came to this page. So between this transition, it is it has some delay like that, somewhat in seconds, in milliseconds. There is small delay. Because of that delay, you are getting a null value over there. So to solve that, instead of directly writing user, we'll store this in a state. So how to do that? Just remove this auth completely complete. Then here let's define a state. See, this will be similar. You don't have to change anything in this. Instead of that, write one more extra lines here, like user, one more, set user. Then this will be a state. So what will be the initial state? It will be null, which means there is no user logged in or no user data in this. Done. I will try to change the state of this by accessing set user. Here I told you how to perform side effects, right? This side effect is to fetch the details. I will write one more side effect which will store and which will track the user data, like he is logged in or not, or the state of the user. What is the state of the user? So this is a syntax arrow function and dependency array. Remember this. Then in this, I will write a function const unsubscribe. Const unsubscribe, guys. Writing const unsubscribe equals to on or state change. See here you can see suggestions to import this from Firebase, or just click on this. If it is not imported, you should manually import that. See here it is imported from Firebase auth. Then here we will be sending the the current logged in users card details from here this auth. Then we'll run a function which will give us the details of the current user. Like I will write here current user, you can write anything. This might be confusing for the first time, but when you code and write this and practice in other projects, you will understand this logic. Here directly you can write if I'm getting current user card details. This is if condition, right guys? Here in if condition I'm directly checking, do I have the current user? Am I getting the current user details? So if it is true, then set user equals to current user. Done guys. Here in this set user, to manipulate this null state, we are sending the current user ka data. Now we are telling it to track, is he logged in, is he logged out, or is right. You can write else condition also, like else. See, if there is no user, if I'm not getting any current user card details, then you keep this set user as null only. Set user, you keep this null only. Set you. I will explain this again. I'm running a side effect where I'm checking a condition, like I'm storing the details in one variable. Then on auth state change, this function tells us the state of the user. Is he logged in or not? Then we are trying to send the authentication configurations. Then a function to check the condition, like am I getting the user data, current user card data? If I'm getting the data, so in this state, you send his details. In place of null, change this to current user so that I can access his details from the user. That is what use state, right? Second variable is to manipulate and change. First variable is to access that. Using the set second variable, I am trying to manipulate the state. Then in the else condition, I am telling if there is no user card data, then keep it null. Done. But here you can see defined, but its value is never read. So for this, just below this closing, write return data function unsubscribe. Call this function. Done, guys. This is done. Here we'll try to run this application with this fetch to do's. I told you, right? It will run for the first time, and also if you are sending any parameters like any condition, when to refresh and when to get the data. If the user state is changing, we'll try to get his details. Writing this, even we'll check one more condition, like before fetching, check whether there is user. So if user is logged in, if you have any user card data, only then you fetch the details. And also here you write that condition. If there is user, then I will add all this over. Done. Now go. No error. Once again I will refresh. I'm not getting any error now. I will try to add, like, this is test data. This is from test user. Now I just write test. Add. See here, you got this is from test. So this is working. Now let's go to other tab where we logged in using other account Arshad. That's the issue is solved now. See here, I'm not getting the other user details. Try to refresh. See, I'm not getting his details here. I'll try to add. I'm Arshad. Oh, I click two times. Arshad. See, I'll refresh this. I'm getting my details. Then I will refresh other user. Done guys, the issue solved. We'll try to solve one more issue like previously. If you have seen here, see here in this I will write hello add. I press this add for two times. You just see I'm getting two times. If I click one more time add, I'm getting this details again because this field is not empty. To make this, after clicking add, I want to make this field empty, right? We'll go here. Yeah, here. What was the task na? Set task to null. Save this. See guys, after pressing add, the input field is empty now. I'm not getting this previous text here. Done. It's also solved. One more thing. Let's try this. I'm not writing anything. I'll just click add. One more add. See here, I got one empty data. Here there is no text. This issue you can see in Google Keeps if you know that notes taking app. Even in that you can see this error. When you are not writing any details in that, still you can see a empty container over there. To solve this, you can keep a condition. This is my task, right? I'm sending here. You just write if task is equals to or triple equals to null, then return. Let's try. Will this work? Refresh. So here I have two empty details here. I will try to add one more. Try to click once again. I have pressed four times. Still I'm not getting anything over there. Done guys, our issue is solved. We are not getting any empty data over there. If I'm writing something and if I click add, yes. See here. Your details are added here. To understand this better, let's ask ChatGPT to design this. Yeah, this looks good. This is fine. Not that good, but still we can work on. See, you can see one, two, two empty boxes. I will try to add now. See, no more empty fields are added. I will try to add content, some random text. Click on add. See, it is added. So our functionalities are working. In next video, we'll try to how to edit this. In place of content, I misspelled this like cop something. So if I want to edit, I can click on this pencil icon. I can edit this. If I click on this bin, we'll try to see how to delete this content completely. Like I have empty space here, right? If I want to delete, I can click on this button. It will delete this. Try to improve this more. Yeah, the spacing is correct. Let's try to this. Oh, yeah, this is looking good. If you add some more data, yeah, even the scroll feature is working. Now with this, our to do with basic functionality, how to add and to fetch the details is done. You can improve this UI. I use ChatGPT, but you don't use that. I use that because we are short on time. I want to design. See, even after AI gives you the content, even you have to change, you have to manipulate the content like I did. If you want to do that, you have to know how things work, how things are designed. So if you want to know that, do it manually. After knowing how to design and all, you can use AIs to make your design. This was about create and read, guys. And thank you.